Hi guys and welcome to Caesar's Holocron, the series where I will be sharing my knowledge in the best way I can with you guys. As this is the first episode, I thought it would be nice to start the series off with a guide on how to get into the Star Wars universe. What I have in mind is telling you guys in what eras the universe is divided and when the eras have their beginning and end, and also which books start and end each era. The universe of Star Wars is divided into 7 eras, starting off with the Pre-Republic, which starts off with the Book of Dawn of the Jedi, Into the Void. It takes place around 25 years before the Battle of Yavin. To put it in short, the book tells us about a woman Jedi and her journeys to stop something that threatens the Jedi. Unfortunately, right now we have only one book from that era, and the other information about it comes from comic books. The next era that starts off 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin is the Old Republic, starting with the book The Lost Tribe of the Sith, which tells us about the crew of Sith Lords that crash onto a planet called Kesh, which was yet undiscovered by the Galactic Republic or the Sith Empire, and there they settle down to gather forces yet again. The Old Republic era is longer than the previous one and contains 10 books, with over half telling us about the Sith Empire and also great and mighty figures like Darth Revan, Darth Malgus, or Darth Bane, whose trilogy ends this mighty era in 1000 years BBY. In my opinion, this trilogy should be a must-read for every fan of Star Wars that wants to learn more about the Sith. If you want to know more about the dark side of the Force, I advise you to read these books, rather than go on a killing spree in real life, as that is not the purpose of the dark side. The era after that is a lot more known, as it is called Rise of the Empire, starting off 67 years before the Battle of Yavin, and telling us an amazing story about the Sith Lord Darth Plagueis, the master of Darth Sidious, which we all know as, spoiler, Senator Palpatine. You probably didn't expect that, did you? This book also goes in its timeline into the first Star Wars movie, Phantom Menace, with theories that Sidious's master can be seen in some of the scenes in the movie. In this era there is also the movie Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, which I think everybody knows. It also has its worst written books, but if you like the typical Mexican guy dancing to La Cucaracha in a sombrero, then the Lando Calrissian trilogy might be just for you. The era ends with a book that might not be top quality, but could be worth reading, which is Death Troopers, half a year BBY. If you have seen Rogue One and remember the Death Troopers from there, then you can just forget that image and get it out of your head. In short, this book tells us about a virus that turns the stormtroopers into zombies. But overall the situation got handled and Rick Grimes with a zombie killing crew was not needed here. But you have to admit, it would be extremely cool seeing Rick with a blaster than a gun in a ship full of walkers. The following is the era of the Rebellion, containing the original Star Wars trilogy, and also starting with New Hope, starring our beloved Mark Hamill in the Battle of Yavin. It goes through some adventures of a rebellion, The Empire Strikes Back, a trilogy of bounty hunters, pretty much ends with Return of the Jedi, where Darth Vader sends Sidious flying down the Death Star and having all his sins of killing Jedi younglings forgotten just before his death, while also being somehow able to become a ghost of the Force 4 years ABY. Next is the New Republic era, starts with a story of Luke Skywalker, 1 year after the events of Return of the Jedi, and a series of X-Wing books. It also has some amazing books in it, like the trilogy of an outstanding Imperial officer Thrawn, who we can also see in the animated TV series Star Wars Rebels, which takes place a couple of years before New Hope. The Rebellion era also ends with Thrawn books, which take place 19 years ABY, and a story about Luke Skywalker and another Jedi, who originally had the quest to kill Luke in 22 years after the Battle of Yavin. The second to last, the New Jedi Order era, starting in 25 years ABY, where we start off with a book that introduces us to a new threat, the Yuuzhan Vongs, a race braced in armor that a lightsaber cannot pierce, whose ships can turn off the enemy's force field, and with their ship engines being miniature black holes. Now how crazy does that sound? It looks like the Solo and Skywalker family can't get a break or a vacation they probably desperately need and have to save everyone. Or if you prefer, save a rebellion, save a dream. The era ends with Luke going out to search for the Solo kids with Han and Leia. This book takes place 30 years ABY and after the destructive war with the Yuuzhan Vongs. The last is the Legacy era, takes place in 40 years ABY, starting with the legacy of the Force One, Betrayal, tells us about again upcoming darkness ahead which Luke Skywalker is worried about, and ends with the fate of the Jedi, One, Outcast, telling us about Luke having to quit the Jedi Order, goes on a mission with his son Ben to find out what made Jack and Solo turn evil, and on a quest in which revealing some mysteries might violently end his life 43 years after the Battle of Yavin. And then we have two books from another X-Wing series which tells us about a mission that only Luke, Han and Leia can fulfill and hope to survive. And this will be it for this episode, guys. I hope you learned quite a few things from this video. If you have any questions or suggestions what the next video could be on, tell me in the comments. Also remember to check out my channel and other videos, and may the Force be with you. Also don't forget to subscribe!